My name is Victor. I just want to do a quick check-in with the universe, with everyone, whoever's watching this. It is day, 52 of me just doing no PMO, and it's worth it. Like, if I could give one message today to anyone who's watching this, whoever sees this and needs to, experience this time capsule, whoever is, experiencing this, seeing this, it's worth it. I hope you hear this. I hope you listen. It's worth it. That's the best thing I could say about it. Like 52 days in, I know it's worth it. I still have, it's a journey. It's a life. Like I don't want to say I still have X amount of days to go. Like the milestone for me is 90 days. Like I'm about 8 days from 60, but the milestone is like 90. But I'm just gonna keep going. But still, 52 days in, it's worth it. But let's just get into it real quick in terms of the benefits. Like it's a bit hard to track because once you cut, what we don't realize is that because most of us have had this habit since we were kids, like not only is it a huge part of your life mentally and emotionally, watching porn and everything that goes with it, browsing all the tabs, viewing 100 different videos before you actually spend about 5 to 7 minutes actually masturbating, maybe 12 to 15 depending on if you're just like so fucking numb that it just takes that long for you to find something to ejaculate to. Like who knows, but not only is it the emotional and mental attachment, the physical attachment as well, but it's time consuming. And you don't realize how time consuming it is until you cut it out of your life and you're left with all this time. You start to realize how much time is in a day. You start to appreciate it more, and you begin to implement other more productive habits into your life. For me, when I cut out porn and masturbating to porn, I began to exercise. How can I say? I began to dedicate that time and that effort that I would spend doing that into working out, being fit, maintaining my health, eating better, all those things. Like all of that, proper diet, fitness, fell into line once I cut porn out, because you're inherently looking for something to fill that time. You're never really at rest. Your body's always vibrating, always moving, so you're never at rest. You're constantly seeking some type of fulfillment, something to do. And when you begin to cut porn out and those dopamine receptors begin to reset, you begin to just look for more fulfilling things that aren't necessarily going to be short term. Like you stop looking for instant gratification and you start accepting that, things take time. Let me begin to invest this time into something that, let me begin sowing so that in the future I may reap from what I sow. That begins to be your mindset. So my energy is more balanced. I feel more assertive in life. And this is just day 52. My voice has more of a bass to it. My voice is deeper. I think more about what I want to say. I don't fear the awkwardness of pausing and taking breaths and breathing properly. I don't have any type of social anxieties about that when I'm in conversation. I can talk freely. As I said, I'm more assertive. I'm more dominant in the sense of not fearing confrontation. Like I run towards confrontation now, look for situations to be uncomfortable, to have to step outside my comfortable, hence me doing this. Like I would have never done this 52 days ago. I had this idea several times to kind of just share this story to the world, but I didn't have the confidence to just step outside of myself, step outside of my zone of confidence and be fearless. Like it took actually doing it and getting to day 52, making that progress, but it also kind of took the recognition that this isn't for me. Our lives aren't necessarily for us. Like our stories are for the world. You never know who needs to hear what you have to say, who's listening. So here we are. So my energy is more balanced. I'm more productive. My mindset is more positive. Like I've always been a very optimistic person, a very positive and vibrant person to be around. But internally, my mindset was very negative. I thought very negatively about outcomes to situations. I was very pessimistic. I was very cynical. I've become more optimistic, more positive, more joyful. I don't necessarily fear consequences of situations anymore, and that's allowed me to be able to perceive a more positive effect to whatever action I may take, a more positive outcome. Like now I think about the positive possibilities of approaching people, of approaching women and talking to women. Like now, for me, I do it now just because. Like, because you never know what could come from the other side of this conversation. Before, approaching women, like, left me petrified because I feared rejection. I fear like there was gonna be some negative consequence, like, oh, she's gonna tell me get the fuck out of her face, like, oh my gosh, she's gonna like crush me, she's gonna say something that's gonna break me. Now it's like, no, like, it's whatever, it's just a conversation. Like, it's just flirting, it's just a conversation, it's just dating. Like, and these are all normal parts of life, things that you should never fear. Like, you should never fear other people, you should never fear conversation, and you should never fear confrontation. And these are all things that come back to you with cutting that out of your life, with cutting porn out of your life, with cutting masturbation out of your life, and even cutting orgasm out of your life. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be edging out here for a while. Like, I can see that happening if that's why the milestone is 90 days. Like, I want to wait 90 days before I have any like type of sexual activity. Like, but that's just me. That's just me. You don't have to, if that's, if you feel comfortable with that, you feel comfortable with your progress, go for it. Like, don't let anybody set for you what you can and can't do, what your, mental state can and can't be. And it's not like I'm not pressed for it anymore. And that's a big thing too. Like, I've gained perspective. Before I used to be pressed for it, I used to yearn for it. But then like I was like, well, I've had so much. It's not like I've never had sex before. You understand? And even in this, I recognize how I didn't even appreciate it. Like, before, I didn't appreciate sex. Like, I looked down on my partners. Like, that's how bad my mind state was. Like, I would choose partners that I would look down on, and then I would just use them just for sex. Like, there would be no other exchange. We wouldn't exchange ideas. I wouldn't get to know you as a person. I wouldn't take anything away from that interaction, that relationship, but sex. Now it's different. Like, now I look at things differently. Like, I look for energy. Like, are we compatible? What can we bring to each other? What can I offer you? What can you offer me other than just like something physical? That's a big deal for me, because porn makes you a very shallow person inherently. If you aren't already, it drags you deeper down into this pit of shallowness, if you understand. Because all you're doing all day is worshiping people with like amazing bodies who spend their whole days at the gym or have had like a shit ton of plastic surgery. Like, that's what you're worshiping. You're giving your attention, you're paying them your attention, and then you're sacrificing your energy to them. Like, you're sacrificing that life force, you're sacrificing that energy to them. For all intents and purposes, like, porn is your everything. It's your God, it's your wife, it's your sister, your brother, your girlfriend, it's your sense of comfort, it's your sense of identity. Because for a lot of you, it is a sense of identity, regardless of whether you tell people you do it or not. It's what you do. Like, it's what you spend the most time out of your day doing consistently. You understand? It's what you carry around with you because it's your little secret, right? Like, it's your little secret. That's why you don't tell anybody, because there's identity to it. You're the person that's carrying this big secret around. That's your identity. You're the person who spends your whole, like, allotted amount of free time, like, watching porn. That's your identity. And it draws more just negative actions in terms of just wasteful ways to spend your time, whether that's you spend the whole day playing video games, or you spend the whole day fucking high smoking weed, like, whatever it is. Like, you just draw these kind of wasteful actions. And I'm not saying in moderation there's anything wrong with any of those things, but we all know we're not doing it in moderation. Like, it wouldn't be a problem if it was like once a month you with your partner watch porn or something like that, but it's not that. That's not the case. I think we can all be honest with ourselves in expressing that that's not the case at all. Like, we're usually alone. We're usually in an enclosed space, whether that's your room or your bathroom. We're usually in the dark. Like, it's something like, it's a thing, you feel me? Like, it's something that even in your own privacy, you try to hide from yourself, right? Because you put yourself in enclosed spaces, you keep the lights off, you close your door, and then you pretty much sink into this world completely. But it's not like you carry it on your shoulders. You're not going out telling people like, oh man, do you know what I watched? I watched the hottest scene yesterday and this, and oh man, I browsed like 100 tabs, and like, it's something that you feel ashamed of, and there's a reason for it. There's a reason you don't feel comfortable kind of expounding this, because at the end of the day, you recognize that you're doing something that's detrimental to you. You're hurting yourself. You're doing something that's not beneficial to you, something that's not nourishing your mind, something that's not nourishing your body or your spirit. Like, you recognize that. You see that in full force. That's why you hide it. That's why you tuck it away. You know, like somebody that cuts themselves or something like that. Like, you hide it because you don't want the world to see you hurt. But you are hurting. You recognize you're hurting, but you're hiding it from yourself. You don't accept it. Once you accept it and then cut it out and say, okay, need to make a change, everything else falls in line. Like, it does. Like, your life begins to change rapidly, like piece by piece, day by day, week by week, month by month. Your life changes. And it's a beautiful thing. It's what I'm experiencing right now. And I'm only in day 52, coming up on closing out my second month now. So imagine how I'm going to feel at day 90, day 180, next year, the year after that. You feel me? Like, it's a beautiful thing. So hopefully, if you take nothing else from this, if you're watching this now, just know it's worth it. You're worth it. You have to love yourself enough to know that you're worth this. You're worth this journey. You're worth the result. You're worth the gold at the end of this rainbow. You're worth the treasure at the end of this voyage. Like, you're worth it. So just put the time in, because that's all it is. Just passing the day not doing something you would regularly do. Cut the habit. Let it go. Do something else with your time. Find something else more beneficial. Chase the hobby you always wanted. You know, do the thing you always want to do. Take up the project that's always been on your mind. Find something to fill this time with. Whatever it is, find something productive to fill this time with, so you don't even think about it. Like, yes, you're going to flatline. You're going to hit points where you feel like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. But it's not. All it is that's a good thing, because your brain's beginning to wake up. Your brain's waking up, it's beginning to rewire, and it's searching for new ways to deal with just common stress, deal with common emotion. So often, whenever, because once again, most of us got into this habit when we were 12, 13, 14 years old, before we even knew of self, before we had any idea of self or how to deal with the world, how to deal with our emotions, how to deal with the problems we felt internally, we were turning to porn. Like, we had a crutch. Before we could walk, we had a crutch, and it was porn. Like, that was our crutch. We would turn to that for everything. It would give us comfort. It would give us something to do. It was a hobby. Like, it was everything for us, and we never actually properly learned how to deal with ourselves, how to be alone with ourselves, and how to deal with ourselves. We never learned how to deal with our emotions, how to deal with our thoughts, how to control our thoughts, how to have that discipline where you control what comes in and out of your mind. And that extends past your thoughts, but as well as what you watch, what you eat, what you spend your time doing, the people you allow to have your attention and be within your circle. Like, all of these things were lessons to be learned as children, as teenagers, as we grew, but we never did because we accepted that porn was the end all be all for it. Like, it's the same way. Like, people don't think about it, and I'm not going to say porn is inherently a drug. Anything could be a drug. Because when you cut this out, you start to realize what else was a drug to you, what else you depended on for comfort and not for what it actually was. If people took porn for what it actually was, it's just like two people having sex. You're a third party viewing two people having sex. That's what porn is. You're a third party in this sexual act. You're participating in that sexual act as a third party because you're viewing. It's like being a voyeur. It's like peeking through someone's window. Like, that's literally what porn is. Like, you're looking into this world and you're participating in it because you're an unwilling third party. You don't recognize that you're participating in it. You just think, oh, it's porn. But no, you're there. Like, when you cut that on and you watch it and you masturbate and you give that energy and you pay that attention, you're there. You're third party or fourth party or fifth party or 15th party, whatever it is you're watching. Like, you're there. You're there, and you're a part of that. And we don't recognize it. And like I was saying, anything could be a drug, so there's nothing inherently wrong with it. Like, most things in this life are neutral. They're neither really negative nor positive. We give it that. But long story short, like I said, you're worth it. Love yourself. Do this for yourself. Make this promise to yourself and don't break it. Make this promise that you'll go at least 60 days. If I can go 52, 8 days away from 60, and I'm gonna make 60, you can do the same. Just promise yourself 60. Promise yourself 30. Whatever you have to do to promise yourself a week. Whatever you have to do to get this journey started and get those wheels turning, do so. Because I guarantee you on the other side, you'll see that it's entirely worth it. I'm just at day 52. I've taken 52 steps on this journey of 1,000,000,000,000 steps. And I can see in the distance, oh yeah, it's worth it. Okay, I'm gonna keep walking. I'm not gonna stop walking. I see what it was worth. Do the same. Start walking with me. Let's all pledge to ourselves to end this. Like, we can be the end of this, and we can all be better people for the world because of this. Like, this is just the start of something beautiful. Like, we're all turning ourselves into something better to contribute to this world. And the world desperately needs you. It needs you in everything you're good at. And you can't find those things and display those things and give the world those things if you're giving all your energy and your attention and your effort and your intent to porn. Like, you can't. You can't deliver to the world by living in that world. We need you. You feel me? We do. So please, make that pledge to yourself. Make that promise that even if it's for a day, a week, you're going to spend that time not watching porn, not masturbating, not orgasming, instead turning that energy towards something productive, something that you're passionate about, something that you love, so that you can then give that to the world, because we need that. The world needs more love. The world needs more passion. It doesn't need more addiction. It doesn't need more misery. It doesn't need more depression. So please, love yourself, because I love you. I love me, and because I love me so much, I love you. We're one. You feel me? We're all connected. So love yourself, make that promise, and push forward. Can't wait to see you on the other side.